I was reading the other morning in Mark chapter 4, and it's a familiar story. It's when the disciples are at sea, and they were typically on sea. So when a great storm would arise, when they were fearful, it was quite a storm. Well, there was Jesus, and they got him, and he got up, and he calmed the sea, and it says, and a peace went across the body of water. But there's something that really caught my eye in the middle of it, because sometimes in the middle of storms is when I get really uneasy and I'm calling out for Jesus to, would you calm this? Would you take away this storm? But here's what happens in the middle of the passage. It says, but he, and it was referring to Jesus in verse 38, but he was in the stern asleep on the cushion, and they woke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? This is such a great storm that the disciples, the fishermen, many of them, were so scared, and yet Jesus is sleeping in the midst of this. That's what I want. In the midst of storms, what if instead of having to have peace by just having it go away, I could have peace enough to sleep in the midst of it? How do we have that? Jesus says this at the end in verse 40. He said to them, why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith? See, they had one or the other. It was faith or it was fear. And I realize in my life in the middle of storms, when I focus on the fear and what I'm afraid of, that's when I need it to go away. But when I can focus on the faith and trust Jesus for being with me through the storm and for giving me the capabilities to be calm even in the midst of it without it going away, that's when I really have that faith. That's when I really trust him. God, I just ask that you would build and strengthen our faith, whether it's in the midst of the storm or at the passing of a storm, that we would be able to trust you in it, understanding you're in control. And sometimes you're going to calm it for us. And God, sometimes you're just going to be there present, and you're going to help us to have that calm in the midst of it. But I pray, God, start with me. Help me to trust you in either way. And we pray this in your Son's name. Amen. As always, if this has been of value to you or you think somebody else would benefit from it, would you share it with them and encourage them to join us at Fresno First Baptist? I hope you have a great week.